travel on the west end of Route 66. It'll take you all the way out to California. The sun is shining bright here in this West Coast state as we prepare for the second to last race of the season for the Area Cup Series. Next week, the season comes to an end at Chicagoland, the Windy City, for 140 laps, but tonight it's 105 laps and 210 miles all the way out here. And while the gold rush was back about 200 years ago, there's still many that are shooting for glory here tonight. Hi, everybody. Kyle Heyer, joined by Finian DeCuna and Hunter Sleppy as we attack the 16th race of the season, the second to last round of the year. And Finian, tonight, 4 drivers will no longer have any hopes of being the champion. We will select our final 3 that will join Jake Matheson to fight for a championship next week in Chicago.
Yeah, as it stands right now, we got 8 drivers looking for a goal, but at the end of tonight, 4 will be walking home with their pockets empty because they're going to be eliminated from the playoffs. We go down to 4, and it is tight, pretty tight around that cutoff line. Coming into tonight, Connor Horn just a couple points over Seth Nolan. There's some big names that could be potentially knocked out depending on how this race goes, so it'll be definitely a big one to watch here because we got a big field of cars ready to get going.
It's going to be interesting to see if Matthew Bell can win his way in. It's happened in the past where drivers have been below the cutoff line heading into Auto Club. Most famously, you go back to Season 3 with Michael Kern and that incredible 3-wide photo finish. He's currently above the cutoff line, but he was entered, I believe, 7th in the point standings heading into that race and was able to lock his way into the championship. But we'll have to see if he can make it in tonight. Only +4 to the good. Connor Horn only +3, and then right below, you got Seth Knoll just 3 points out. Travis Beckner, Scioli Bell. They're going to need a lot, Kyle, to make it happen.
Yeah, they're going to need some luck tonight and maybe a win for drivers like Matthew Bell, obviously. As we head into this 105-lap race tonight, qualifying of the utmost importance for those playoff competitors. We'll head down to the racetrack and get things qualified here in just a moment's time. Of course, since we last raced, the Tempest weather system has been added to iRacing. Well, doesn't matter out here in California. It's still sunny skies. 127-degree track temp, though, Finian. It is going to be cooking eggs down there on the... You probably could cook a steak on the pavement right now, how rough it is and how hot it is down there.
Yeah, I was going to say, still a couple bills potentially from rain being a factor for stock car racing. For now, these guys can enjoy any threat of weather from dampening their spirits, but they're out there on the track. A couple drivers at the moment getting qualifying laps down, and there is one of them who's just come down across the line in 2nd place. It's Michael Kern, and what does the sign say? He's blocking half of at the moment.
It says, you know what they say about the weather in Cali? If you don't like it, wait 10 minutes and Tempest will change it. So that's particularly on the nose here, Hunter, as we enter this racing tonight. But I do think it's interesting to note that while the Tempest weather system has brought rain, it also does change some of the weather characteristics here in iRacing. So that could be a factor tonight. I don't think it's going to really massively adjust how the oval racing side of things is for at least the short term. But the track temp is pretty hot even here fairly late in the day, so we'll see how that pans out, especially with a racetrack known for being so rough and with so much tire wear.
Yeah, and I was going to say, and really the big thing is going to be, with the temperature and the cloud, like you mentioned, the changes to the weather system, the way it works. Weather kind of rolling in occasionally. It's more dynamic than it is instead of just being partly cloudy the entire time. Clearly the entire time is a little bit more dynamicism when it comes down to this. And at the moment, it's looking partly cloudy in qualifying, and looking at Travis Beckner trying to make it sunny here because he's got a lot to make up. He's been coming in a bit of a hole, a couple points out from that cutoff, so he definitely needs to execute, run the best laps that he can here, and he's up on the top lane qualifying.
Yeah, last week was an unfortunate set of circumstances for him at Iowa. Had the dominant car and then pitted at the wrong time because the yellow came out as soon as he was down pit road and just couldn't dig himself out of that hole. Couldn't get his way through dirty air. And it's kind of like Iowa, this track is, with the multi-groove racing that we got. By the way, got to pour one out to Auto Club. It no longer exists. But in our hearts, it will forever hold memories nearest and dearest to us. And we see Ricky Springer. I don't know what's going on there.
Oh, this is a hedgehog. He's got a hedgehog.
Oh, what?
Yes.
Oh, I thought it was like a hat with like a little fuzzy thing on the top.
It's a hedgehog is what that is.
That's awesome.
That is really, I didn't know you could have one.
Oh, you can have some. I've actually been seeing some on YouTube trending for some reason, but like I didn't think that he would own a hedgehog. That's awesome.
Are they like cats or like how does that?
I have no idea. I haven't seen that many.
I mean, what does a hedgehog eat?
Does it eat the coins?
It looks so cuddly. Are they the spiky ones?
No, I thought it was a porcupine at first.
Oh, porcupine. That's the spiky one. What's the spike? So is a hedgehog just like a gopher?
No, hedgehog is. I don't even know how you describe a hedgehog, actually.
I don't think you even think they're real, to be honest. I didn't see it move. No way to prove it. Anyway, back down to the racetrack. Cool new pet for Ricky Springer. Thanks for everyone for letting us know that he's got that. Yeah, interesting. I guess we'll name him Sonic, if its name already is Sonic. Oh, it is actually Sonic. That's actually the name.
There we
Beautiful.
Go. I mean, how can you not? Right?
I mean, right.
Ironic.
Well, Greg Mitchell looking pretty Sonic right now, up to 6th place for the number 2. And
I just saw James Scully coming to the line. He had a big mistake and actually a slow run across the line for him. He's going to be back in 8th. Had a big wiggle out of turn 4, almost completely wiped out, but he's able to recover it. But I think probably not going to be as fast as he would have liked.
Oh, wow. That was a big slide. We'll go, whoa!
Yeah, he was dirt tracking that thing out of turn 4. He got very close to ending up sideways in the wall.
Twice.
See right there, wiggle number 1. And then we're still trying to push. You can see the counter steer him, trying to steer right. Just he didn't want to let off the throttle. Just able to hang on to come home in 8th at the moment, but still got majority of the field left to go.
Here's Casey Licata is coming across the stripe. Going to put down a lap time here in the number 50 entry.
Working his way up to the top of the road.
He actually used up his attempts. He's just putting in laps at the moment. Made a mistake, I think, at some point, so he's done for qualifying. David Weishart out there. He's on a time lap on the back straightaway at the moment.
Connor Horn has put in 5th place time. He's another driver that is currently above the cut line fitting, but by just a little bit. And we showed the points a bit earlier in the evening. It's pretty close there along that cut line. So Seth Knoll absolutely could knock Connor Horn or Michael Curhan out. I think it's going to take a bit more for Beckner or for Scioli to get up there, and certainly a win for Matthew Bell. But I don't think Seth is out of this by any stretch. We'll see what lap time he puts in as well. He has not yet given an attempt, and we'll see if the weather is cooling off. It's a degree cooler than it was a while ago, so maybe that's worth waiting for.
Might be worth waiting for to see if it does cool down. You see that extra bit of speed. I think that's what all the drivers are really waiting out there. But they're running out of time with just over 2 minutes remaining. Justin Bonneron out there at the moment in the number 11, rounding out of turn 2 and on in the back straightaway. Flying on down there. So we can see in and out.
Takes a good while for these guys to put down a lap time because we're seeing 41s, maybe 42-second lap times, but not to mention, previous lap you're trying to get up to speed. So these guys are going to have to go now if they want to have a time down.
And the track is getting a lot busier. Here comes Justin Bondurant across the start-finish line, an average of 171.3 miles an hour. That's only good enough for 14th. That won't be, I think, what he would have liked. Jake Nichols is on his qualifying lap, and he's on the back straightaway in his number 73 Toyota. And he has been going back and forth with Jake Matheson all season long, but Jake was the one to solidify his way in to the championship round at Chicagoland. And I think Nichols knows that he's going to have to beat him there next week, but beating him here this week would be a good preamble for that. Here comes Nichols across the stripe in the Solar Flare Racing Camry. Let's see what he's got for qualifying tonight. 173.45 miles an hour.
Ooh.
And to second by 22 thousandths of a second.
Yeah, just shy by a little bit of a margin, and then I started to be maybe a little bit frustrated with that. But that being said, he does have more poles than Jake Matheson coming into tonight. For Nichols to Matheson. Ricky Springer coming across the line. Trying to see if he can break up that dynamic. Cross line only up to 13th for the 51 car, probably not as quick as he would have liked. Seth Knoll is out there at the moment as well. He's on the back straightaway, and again, one of those drivers that really needs to perform.
Yeah, especially if he can get pole, this would be huge for him too, because that's a bonus point if he gets pole. Matheson already being locked into Chicagoland, not going to do anything for him, but it's going to take that point away from someone like Knoll, who's below the cutoff line, trying to make it in.
Seth Knoll across the stripe. What's he going to have? Battling Connor Horn and Curhan, 41.518. That's good enough for second place. So the battle will be on from the drop of the green flag. Finning already, that's enough to make up a couple points on those that he's fighting in that championship. And actually, it would put him ahead of Connor Horn right from the drop of the green.
I'm sure he's probably looking at that like, dang it, I was so close to getting pulled on that extra point. 14 thousandths of a second slower to get that point. At the moment, looking at Matthew Bell, I think one of the last.
He's not gonna
He's
make
not going to get a time in.
No, and
Oh,
he's not going to get a time in, and no one else will either. Only 22 of the roughly 32 competitors have put a time in, which is surprising to me. 193 miles an hour, though, all by himself into turn one, Finian. The speeds at this racetrack.
Too shy.
Yeah. The speeds of this racetrack, though, are just unbelievable. 193 without a draft into turn one.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's what this track has been known for. Probably not going to be known for that in the future as the track is being reconfigured. We hope, at least, that it's being reconfigured.
Well, how about an Amazon Prime distribution center, boys?
Yay!
Woo! All right, race fans, be sure to subscribe to the Area iRacing Twitch channel. As a subscriber, you'll have Area iRacing emotes to use in the chat. You can also earn double channel points as a subscriber that you can use to redeem for free merchandise, all at the price of just $5 a month. That's twitch.tv/Area iRacing. So we're going to head down to the racetrack here in a couple of moments once warm-up is complete, and we'll race for 105 laps. Hunter, tonight, the championship four are going to be selected. Of those, we're going to take our picks for the race a little while later, but of the four below the cut line, do you think anybody's got a real shot at an upset here and stealing a win and knocking someone in the top four out?
Stealing a win, my best bet would probably be the 7 of Skyley. I wouldn't count Beckner out, considering he's qualified above him in the field, but that 7, you can't count him out on a day-to-day basis with winning a race because he has the capability of doing so. So I'm going to say the 7 of Skyley.
Yeah, we'll see how things pan out here when his race time inches a little bit closer. A little later in the afternoon here, just about quarter after 3 as the track temperature continues to drop from over 125 down to just 123. That's almost winter temperatures at this stage here in Fontana, California. Wind, breezy though, 14 miles an hour out of the southwest, Finny, and that could be a factor, headwind and tailwind.
Yeah, I was going to say, it actually looks like it might change direction because, again, talking about the temperature system, we have a forecast that we can actually look at, and it actually tells, or generally, what temperature it's going to be, the weather conditions, as well as the wind. And it looks like the wind's going to be shifting around, mostly going in a westerly direction, but shifting between southwest, northwest, and just west in general. So that's going to be pretty breezy all throughout the rest of this race.
And that is generally a factor here because this is such a wide and flat area. You can get really big, high wind gusts here that could throw your car out of balance. But let's head down to the racetrack and start our gridding process up. But before we do that, look at eating healthier in 2024 without having to spend extra money. HelloFresh is here to help. Choose from over 40 calorie smart and protein smart meal options each week. Each meal arrives pre-portioned, giving you less time to prep and more time to enjoy your meal. HelloFresh also gives you free breakfast for life with an active subscription. What are you waiting for? Click the link to get started with America's #1 meal kit today and use the coupon code to save 50% off your first box. Twitch.tv/Area iRacing, HelloFresh to get that code. All right, let's head down to the qualifying order here. We've got just over 30 entrants here tonight, Finian, so it's a pretty good field size. And on pole, it's the driver locked into next week. He's got nothing to lose, but he certainly would like to win again. Jake Matheson starts first. Seth Knoll is just shy of that cut line, and he's already above it if he finishes right where he starts with everything else the way that it is.
Yeah, moving back to third, we got Jake Nichols lined up there in the 73, trying to chase on the 56, but also trying to make sure his teammate makes it on through in second place. And we got Travis Beckner in the 28, rounding on fourth.
In fifth place, it's Michael Curhan in the number 24, a driver above the cut line for now. Blaze McKinney starts sixth in the 87.
Moving on back to seventh, going to be David Weishart in the 33. Next to him, Jacob Bell in the 77 and 8th.
Ninth place, Connor Horn, currently knocked out if things stay as they are, but Reinhardt starts 10th in the number 3.
Moving on back to 11th, it's going to be Greg Mitchell, number 2. Justin Andersogek lined up in the 12th place position in the 67.
Jeremy Miller starts 13th in the number 30 car. Tyler Nichols, 14th in the number 41.
Moving on back to 15th, it's going to be James Schuyler, the number 7. Next to Ricky Springer in the 51, lineup in 16th.
And 17th place, Garrett Grant in the number 5 Toyota Camry. Skylar Shackelford rolls off 18th in the number 88 car.
Moving on back to 19th, it's going to be Ed Roberts in the 64. Next to him, Ray Slate in the number 8 in 20th.
21st place, the number 11 of Justin Bondurant in his Chevy Camaro. Spencer Burns rolls off 22nd in the 06 Camry.
Matthew Bell's going to be rolling off 23rd in the number 9 machine. Next one, Edward Shear Jr. in the 17 car in 24th.
25th place, Douglas Newbeging in the 71. Brad Slaughter Jr. starts 26th in the number 83.
Back in 27th is going to be Connor Kresick in the 14. Next in Casey the Cottis lineup in the 50 in 28th.
29th place, Mason Kane in the number 31, and Ben Pierce starts 30th in the number 65.
And moving on back, rounding out our final row to be Dwayne Culberson in the 81 and 31st, and Blake Hopp next to him in the 23 in 32nd.
That's your HelloFresh starting lineup as the field works their way around. And one last look at the weather before we kick things off. It has dropped a couple more degrees. Wind still breezing over almost 15 miles an hour out of the southeast now as it continues to shift around the racetrack. Pick me a winner tonight, Finian. Who you got at the top of the board at the end of this thing?
Are sure you want me picking first since I'm leading?
Well, I'm not. It's the whole thing. Go ahead.
I mean, okay, I guess. You know what? I'm going to go with Jake Nichols in the 73.
Oh, wow. Well, thanks for ruining my pick. I'm going to go ahead and go with the driver on the outside of Jake Matheson. That's Seth Knoll.
Well, he's been beaten, the 73 of Jake Nichols, the last couple of weeks, or almost did it. The 24, Michael Curran. I'm going to pick him again tonight in the 2-4. We'll see how that pans out for me in that Ford Mustang. I need to earn some points to be fitting in the championship standings, and he better not do me dirty after being such a front runner the last couple of weeks. 105 laps, about an hour and 12 minutes. This could be a long one tonight from Fontana, California. 2 rounds left in the Area Cup Series. We start the penultimate race right now. Green flag flies, and we're racing on the West Coast. Whoa, big move up the middle by the 87 of Blaze McKinney, and it shot the 28 up the racetrack. That was very dicey. Lap 1 at Fontana, already fanning out 4 wide like we're used to seeing. Everybody scatters around the road.
Darting around like they're Indy cars on the front straightaway, trying to break up the slipstream. McKinney was trying to throw a block at the 73, and Nichols having none of it. He continues up on the high lane at 73. Trying to get on through battles in the midfield. I see there's Justin Anasogak in the 67 in the middle of the field. And he's being flanked by Jeremy Miller, Skylar Shackelford, Greg Mitchell. Whoa, one car loose in the background.
Might have been Pierce that was a little bit sideways. Kept it going straight, but that's just how treacherous this track is. It got all sort of bumps in it. You can go 5 wide if you want. We've seen guys already work their way all the way on the outside wall. I think it's Douglas Newbiggie just in front of Brad Slaughter.
Lap 2 complete, and single filing up at the front, but still some drivers trying to make some ground at the bottom. Michael Curran in 5th place there, getting a shove from the 42 of Connor Horn. Both of those drivers are kind of in the same boat, above the cut line, but not by much, and they really don't want to want a Seth Knoll leading or winning this race, because that's where he is right now.
Whoa, Curran just slamming the door shut as he comes up high to block Connor Horn from getting a run to his outside, and they'll continue on in 5th, trying to get around Travis Beckner, stuck on the bottom lane by his lonesome at the moment. In that 28 car is stuck in 4th.
Meanwhile, still 3 wide races going on. Miller on the bottom, Bill in the middle, and then on the outside of him, it's Ryan Hartz, all fighting for that top 10 spot. Then right behind them, you got Skylar Shackelford in the 88 trying to make some noise.
30 in the 77, I think, had a little bit of contact out of turn 4. Things got a bit tight with Skylar Shackelford up on the outside. And into turn 1, still 3 abreast here, and they are deeper in the field as well. And look at this for the 2nd spot. Jake Matheson's got it, and about 10 drivers want it on the back straightaway.
Oh, and Travis Beckner just slides up in front of Jake Nichols, almost turned himself over the nose with the 73. He didn't want to lose any more ground, just kind of wanted to solidify his place in line, keep him from getting past. So look up wide, there is David Weiser taking the high lane around. And we'll get a spot over Blaze McKinney.
Yeah, Weishart's been making that top groove work just a little bit. Knocking on the door of the top 5 spot, but Beckner making that move earlier. He's got to do what he's got to do. He's in a position where points might not cut it, and that his only shot at making the championship round is a win. Currently, that's being held by Seth Knoll, still early on in the race, but a couple of guys below the cutoff line trying to make their names heard early on.
Down the back straightaway, here comes the 56 to the bottom again. He's got that win that locks him into Chicagoland, so he can afford to be aggressive, but maybe not aggressive enough that he makes an enemy heading into next week, because you don't want to have a lack of respect between the top four in that last round. Travis Beckner, big side draft on the one. He's going to drop to the bottom and tries for the lead.
Oh, comes across the line. Not sure if he got it. He did by 23 thousandths of a second. So that's 1 point for Beckner.
A bonus point there for the lead in the lap, and Beckner takes the top spot away. Meanwhile, Knoll drops to second. Then third is up for grabs between the Jake and Jake gang. Jake Nichols and Jake Matheson. Meanwhile, here you see Jacob Bell, the other Jake, running the lowest on the back stretch. And Connor Horns also entered the fray, knocking on that top 5.
Try 4 wide here through the middle of 3 and 4. Miller waddles up a bit more, but that's not going to work, boys. Sort it out before the front straight.
I was going to say it's definitely not going to work. Got to really be careful here. Don't want to make too many crazy moves early on. Still a long race to go. With over 100, just under 100 laps now as they tick over to lap 7. Still fan out. I just love how everyone just fans out, really putting that multi-groove racing into action. Drivers all over the track, bottom, middle, and the top. And a big run from the top, speaking of which, Connor is slamming into the back of Seth Knoll.
Yeah, he was not waiting around, was he? He was going to go someplace and was not going to let the one sliding up ahead of him kill that run or the momentum. Connor Horn really would like to beat that one tonight and make absolutely sure that he is in Chicagoland next week. Think of how his season started, Finian, way down the order of the championship. Then went on a rash of winning a couple of times, and he's put himself in with some consistency now into a shot to have a run at the championship here. So he's got David Weissart coming forward as well on the high side, who started back in 7th place. That 33 is moving forward well.
Starting to move forward, starting to make some ground. Let's see if he can get there at the moment. I started to actually drop back a little bit. Line will actually just peel back in. We'll be back in 8th place. I think he's decided to break off and let the guys have some more fun burning up their tires up in the front. Speaking of which, here comes Connor Horn trying to race around the 28 of Beckner.
Yeah, so side by side for the lead. I'm noticing Jake Nichols dropping in the running order all the way down to 8th, maybe preserving some of the tires like you mentioned, Finian. Horn's going to lead this lap. Weissart's going to get the draft and give him a little tap before going into turn 1. Not going to be enough to make it 3 wide, as Horn's going to run this same line that Weissart's running.
Yeah, this outside lane seems to be the place to be right now. Those that are sticking on the bottom are really losing ground. Ricky Springer's up there as well in 5th place. New livery on the car. 16th to 5th, so good forward climb for the 51 early in this race. No one really highlighted him, but he's had a pretty good start to this one so far. But is it short-term gain, long-term loss?
Could potentially be, as you're right on board with Ricky Springer. Taking a look at the points as they run. It's not completely accurate because it keeps changing positions every other corner, but it's the best I can get at the moment. It's going to be Connor Horn leading. You can see that Jake Nichols, as it runs, he's looking pretty good. Michael Kerr and Seth Knoll, that gap so close, only 4 points separating.
Yeah, a new paint scheme and a new pet in the Springer household with that pet porcupine Sonic. As not porcupine, it's a hedgehog. Duh. Anyway, Weissart's in the lead, Horn's in 2nd, and then you got Beckner riding in 3rd, and Springer and Miller round out the top 5 in turn 3.
Had what, 3 different leaders already? At least, maybe 4 in this race. So
3.
It's already been circulating like a revolving door at the front of the field. That's very interesting to me. I wonder if that will continue to happen throughout this race with maybe some comers and goers here, as Beckner is trying to get by Connor Horn again on the bottom this time. So maybe you push for a couple laps, you overheat your stuff, and you have to kind of try again. Let's have a look at the weather again. Still 120. It's going to be hot, and the fall off is only about 0.2 of a second. It's not as much as I would have expected yet, but we could see a lot as Connor Horn tries to cover off Ricky Springer, and up the middle comes the 30 of Miller.
Yeah, Miller trying to go, and then Connor Horn jumping in front of his teammate, trying to defend that lane. They're going to go back up on top, trying to hold Ricky Springer at bay, keep that 51 car at bay to keep him from interfering. That 42, he wants to make sure he gets a solid finish in.
Beckner making up more ground as he's getting closer towards the leader. Meanwhile, on board with Seth Knoll, who was leading at one point, has now dropped down to 7th in the running order. You see just ahead of him, it's Miller and Matheson door-to-door for position. As now into turn 1 goes Travis Beckner, looking to the inside, trying to take the lead away from Weissart.
And you saw only 4 laps led for Seth Knoll. And Travis Beckner, I think, has led a similar amount. 3 laps here, looking for a 4th, and looks like Weissart wants to wrestle it back, or vice versa here. Down into turn 3, side by side between these two. Oh, look out!
Again.
Contact.
They're going to wash up and door the 33 of Weissart out of the way. He wants that lead. He wants it bad.
You get him right in the door, and that's not going to be happy for David Weishart. He's not going to be too thrilled with that, but at the end of the day, Beckner's got to do what he's got to do, whether it's intentional or not. He's trying to get a win because points might not be enough. A win could be his only way at making the championship round in Chicagoland, and he's putting it to the test there as gets a little loose there, and Weishart still to his outside.
Yeah, he side drafted earlier, and that's how he got the lead originally, but now he's lost his advantage and momentum and the side draft as well, so he'll stay second for the time being. Ricky Springer up to third, and Seth Knoll and Jeremy Miller was right on his right side door. He bobbled mid-corner, and now Beckner gets a nice run out of 4 and goes back to the bottom here.
There he goes, trying to get the run, trying to get the side draft goings. They drag race off into turn 1 again. Beckner not giving up this fight. He wants to lead as many laps as get another bonus point to his name. Any little bit helps at this point. Gonna keep that car down on the bottom. Gonna go flying out of turn 2 up onto the wall and ahead of the 33.
Weishart had a little bit of a wiggle on the exit of turn 2 just then. Gonna get the draft and close in on the bumper of Beckner before settling into turn 3. Gonna run, I think, the bottom group, which that's an interesting line. We haven't seen Weishart run that in a little bit because he's mostly used that outside lane to try and navigate his way towards the lead and keep it, but now following the tire tracks of Beckner as they complete lap 14.
83 of Brad Slaughter Jr. got in the wall, and he has hit pit lane. Looks like he might be done for the night.
He's a heavy damage to the left side of the car.
Yeah, that was back on lap number 7. But the action's been really good up at the front here, so we haven't really gotten a chance to look back a ways. But have a look at the points now again, Finney. It looks like Connor Horn 6 points above Seth Knoll, but as soon as Beckner is not leading, the calculus changes quite a bit.
Yeah, it really does. They end up, you see that lead Connor Horn in.
Whoa, we're going to be 4.
Whoa.
Thought we were going to try it.
4 wide for just a second, but yeah, when Beckner's on the equation, Knoll and Curran are actually tied in the points as they run at the moment, but it's been changing every lap or so. So even now, as we've looked at it, it's already changed up a bit. I can't keep up with these guys. Look at them using every single bit of racetrack trying to work things out.
And they're tearing this down to build a whatever it is. It's not going to be as good as this is. I know that it put on some pretty boring races, but the ones that it did put on that were good. Holy cow. Up to the outside, Blaze McKinney in the 87. Whoa, is that Jake Nichols turning left across the nose of somebody back there?
Whoa.
Everyone's sliding and getting up into the wall out of 4.
Might be from guys pushing maybe a little bit too hard here. Everyone's starting to, it's kind of feels like it's been calming down and then getting more aggressive, calming down and then getting more aggressive. And saw a lot of guys being really aggressive out of turn 4, a couple guys getting up in that wall.
Yeah, you can use every inch of this track, even the wall. It might not help you, but it is there if you need it. Michael Curran riding on board with, runs in the 7th spot, has had a moderate day so far. Been all the way up to 5th, and that's where we started. So, on the bumper of Jake Matheson, looking to try and get inside that top 5 and try to run on the outside, get a little bit of clean air before setting himself up for a nice run down the front stretch.
The interesting thing is he's been as far back as 11th. There's been quite a bit of mobility. I mean, if you saw one of those Fox graphs, up, down, up again. And here comes Springer for 2nd place on David Weishart here into turn 1.
Down he will go, and Matheson's actually going to try to look up the middle. He's on a bit of a climb back forward, and will circle around the 51 and get up into 2nd place. And see Springer stuck on the bottom here. He's going to get freight trying. You see how much that run on the outside lane is worth it. He dropped by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, almost 6 spots on one straightaway.
How about 7? Here comes Seth Knoll. Hunter he's going to drive up to the outside.
Yeah, he's all the way down to 9th, and he's currently in danger of getting passed by Mason Kane as well, who has made his climb inside the top 10. He's actually going to get alongside of him now, but start to see them doing that snake method. That's something they'll do with the draft, as Connor Horn going to block a run from Michael Curran. He's going to go on the outside of Weishart, looking for 3rd in turn 1.
Lots of racing happening right now here. We're only 19 laps into this 105-lap race, and Travis Beckner leads the way. None of us picked that 28. Finian in the past, his aggression has hurt him in the long runs here, but he's run a pretty good race so far. But here comes Jake Matheson, the pole sitter for this race. He hasn't led a single lap, but 19 laps later, here he comes looking for the lead. Is it all tire saving that the 56 has been doing so far?
Oh, I'm sure. I saw the 56 and the 73 both draw back almost suspiciously. And I think that's why, because we saw Beckner was pushing hard. He wants this lead, and just like that, Matheson takes it on straight away. I do not think this 28's got the tires to fight for it.
Well, not only on top of that, but even though it's a teammate that Matheson's racing with at the end of the day, if Beckner goes on to win this race, that means Matheson's got to fight his teammate for a championship, and he could shut the door on that opportunity tonight in Auto Club if he thinks that Beckner is a big enough threat for the title, which I think he is if he does win. And Jake Nichols trying to prevent that as well, still running the outside lane. And tell you what, we talk about Matheson and Nichols making the climb up. How about Mason Kane all the way up to 8th and still has some cars he's going to pass soon?
Yeah, started 29th. This has been a mission for the 31 so far. And Beckner looking back at the lead. Remember David Weishart leading this race a little while ago? He's now just barely inside the top 10. Ricky Springer's 10th. I mean, everyone's been everywhere in the top 10 so far. No one has been consistent enough to really hang out, except for Michael Curhan. He's been 5th basically this whole race, other than one drop down to 11th.
I think the big thing is going to be just trying to ride this out for the long run for these drivers, just staying out there, getting laps down, just to, you know, make it on through. Because eventually, at some point, they are going to have to come down to pit lane.
Yeah, that'll be interesting, making pit stops under green.
Oh, crash behind him!
Skylar Shackelford's around, and the caution's going to fly on lap 21.
Connor Okrezik is also in, I thought, yes, it is the 14. That is a big hit for both of those cars. That car is destroyed.
Yeah, big hit on the front straightaway out of turn 4. Heavy damage to the 14 and the 28 on the 80 on the right side. This is a Simrat market look, Simrat market replay of what happened with the 17 getting loose in the 88 and into the 14. Nowhere for a present to go.
Yeah, that was a good angle. It didn't look like some net code there between 17 and 88. This is on board Scioli. And now that's incredible. But yeah, that's a shame for those guys.
Yeah, Scioli, we're right on board with as well, because it was just off his nose. He did a nice job of staying out of this. Nice reaction time. And then somebody kept sailing through there and managed to dodge it. Let's see what car that was. That was Greg Mitchell in the number 2. Watch what he sees here. All this happening off his nose. So first caution of the night, and I'm sure everyone will come to pit road. We're about a fifth of the way through this race, and I don't know who's dominant. It has been a revolving door here at the front of the field, and yeah, I don't know what driver has got the best pace so far. That 56 looks good, certainly at 20-lap intervals, but the 28 has also been up front quite a while.
Yeah, that 20's really good on the short run. I think should this come down to a short run near the end, if he's near the front, keep your eyes out on him. But as it stands, the long runs, if it goes that long, it's going to be maybe the 56 or the 73 you want to look at. Pit stops underway, everyone down on the pit lane, getting, imagine, 4 fresh tires and some fuel. It was really funny. As soon as I asked the question about when they're going to come in for fuel, that happens.
With as old as this racing surface is, I think it was about over 20 years old. I want to say close to around 23 or so. Tire wear is a major concern. If you take 2 tires or even ponder staying out in the late race scenario, things tend to not work out for you in that favor. So I would expect everyone to take 4. And it looks like, I think Matheson might have won, but I could be wrong.
Everybody took 4 tires. We didn't really see a ton of fall off as far as lap time is concerned. That's kind of been something that we've seen with generally the next-gen car, with the exception of a few racetracks. But I am interested to see kind of how this race plays out, if we're going to get long enough green flag runs to where that will, be a conversation, or if we'll have relatively shorter ones. But Beckner won the race off pit lane, and here's your reshuffled deck on the left-hand side of the screen. And 6 of the 8 playoff competitors in the top 6.
Yeah, they are all running really well. And actually, while we're looking at that, looking at them up on the standings, let's take a look at the points updated, because, again, it gets really interesting once Beckner is the one in the lead. So obviously, he locks out that point. Jake Nichols looking pretty good again. If he can get a solid top 5, even a top 10 finish as it stands, he should be able to move it on through without much of a concern. Then it gets very interesting looking back down. Connor Horn just 1 point ahead of Michael Curran. Noel only 5 points behind. Very close around that cutoff once Beckner locks in that spot. Again, the big question is, can that 28 keep that car up there? That for the long run, that's going to be, I think, my concern.
Yeah, 6 of the 8 playoff drivers are inside the top 6. Then you got Matthew Bell down in 13th and James Skyley in 17th. Kind of expected Skyley to make his way through the field a little bit more, but was just behind that accident that occurred. So a little bit of concern there for Skyley camp. But Matthew Bell, he's going to be also in a must-win. Both those guys really need to win this race, so they got to figure out how to get up to the front, Kyle, as we're nearing halfway.
Well, as the cars double up, we'll be going back to green this time by. Of course, we've got quite a ways to go. Travis Beckner will restart on the bottom lane. Nick Matheson on the high side. We've got 3 drivers that are retired and done for the day. Connor Okrezik, Blake Hopp, and Brad Slaughter Jr. Skylar Shackelford is back on the road, catching back up to the tail of the field along with Dwayne Culberson. Got our first look at our SimRat Market replay. Race fans, head over to simratmarket.com for custom iRacing paint scheme templates that are simple and easy to use, so it keeps you more focused on the racetrack. Doubling up for the restart here. We'll be restarting on lap number 26, so effectively 80 laps to go. And we will see in this second fifth of the race who has gotten the dominant force to be reckoned with, because it is not clear to me so far who has the car to beat. Green flag, we're back racing at Fontana for the Area Cup Series.
I don't think a great launch for the 28 of Beckner in behind. Nichols trying to get to the inside of 56. Michael Curry looking the outside of the 56 as they go 3 and wide, and even further back, almost 4 wide in 1 and 2.
Yeah, they love fanning out on these restarts, and Model Club is a perfect place to go that wide. 3 wide, 4 wide, 5 wide. Only some side-by-side. A little bit of 3 wide there between Connor Horn, Mason Kane, and Blaze McKinney. Going to shut the door on that. But up front, Travis Beckner trying to set sail from teammate Jake Matheson.
Yeah, it's about controlling his pace now, though, because he's got speed, and he's got speed over a run, but he can't get too aggressive trying to drive away from Matheson in the early stages here. I'd be surprised if Jake really chases him hard, based on how much he had to back off to maintain his long-run pace before. But Travis Beckner really didn't have to do that, so maybe there's something that 28's doing that the others are not, as the 73 is going to get split and sucker hold 3 wide here, the 87 at the bottom, and the 1 up top.
Yeah, not the best place to be in as he's getting freight train on the outside now. 31, Kane going past. Then there's Ryan Hartz, who also go past the number 3, up into 6 for him. Connor Horn now looking his outside.
Could be a method that Jake Nichols doing this again, because we saw him do this in the opening stint, and towards the end of that stint, he was inside the top 5 again. So almost scraped the wall up front.
There was Nichols and McKinney made a little bit of contact. Nothing too crazy though, just a little bit of door-to-door contact.
And nothing too crazy, just banging doors at 200 miles an hour into turn 1, right? Everything's fine and dandy, and McKinney's going to clear the 73 off of 2. Look at Beckner getting out and ahead by over half a second. That's by far the biggest advantage anyone has had so far, as Curhan into second. Here comes Seth Knoll, top to bottom elevator move into turn 3.
Yeah, trying to keep it going around the bottom, and again, it's really hard to push that car around. Ooh, there's a little bit of connectivity issues as well. It's definitely going to help you. There it is.
For a couple people. Yeah, Week 13 over yet? Not quite, right?
Really not.
Apparently not, I guess, right?
Oh,
4 wide, middle of the field, guys.
Hello.
33, 8. Ooh, that got dicey. 7 as Skyoli has to make a hard left.
I was wanting to know, Kyle, the cars facing some quality issues are both Connor Horn and Seth Knoll. So if both of them were to drop, that would be some big implications right there.
Well, yeah. This past weekend at Circuit of the Americas, Grid Life was doing content on 2 of our drivers, Luke McGrew and James Houghton. They finished 1st and 2nd in every single session of the weekend. So it seems like when you focus on those 2 drivers and the battle that they're in, they will just find each other on the road and apparently find each other on the internet somewhere, because both of them are having problems.
hoping that it'll stabilize at some point. Not quite there yet. It's getting a little bit better lap by lap, but Jake Nichols trying to make a move on Connor Horn and not able to pull back in line. He's been fairly quiet. And I'm kind of a bit surprised. So as we look up for the lead, Beckner, almost 0.8 of a second. He's actually, I think, effectively broken the slipstream at this point.
He has, but again, I'm worried that he's still putting a lot of load into his tires. So we'll see what happens. Jake Matheson is kind of our control subject here because he's probably going to do the same thing run to run. So look at lap 45 to lap 50 to see the 56 go for the lead. I bet you might even be sooner than that if Travis is pushing his car too hard. Man, my voice, I started pretty good, but I can tell it's going downhill. I was at Circuit of the Americas all weekend for Super Lap Battle and Grid Life Touring Cup, and had enough talking for a while, so this is going to be a tough week.
Heard you enough talking?
Yeah. No, it's a character fault, and also my job. So, Mason Kane up from 29th, as we documented earlier, looking for a spot in the top 3 as Curran calls Seth Knowles' bluff to the top side here.
Yeah, I was going to say, Kane may be a car to keep an eye on. He came up here and he hasn't fallen off. He's keeping his car up here. Plus, he's now on the same tires, so you could argue he may have used up his first set of tires trying to march to the front. He's on the same set of tires as everyone else now, so he has a chance of keeping that car up there. It looks like a top 5 car at the moment.
Whoa, 73 almost got pinged by the 30 as he went to the middle. Hunter, this is getting exciting on a turn 4.
Yeah, and Miller's going to have to settle in line right there behind the 73 and Nichols. And Finian, you mentioned, car on the wall, that's Ryan Hartz. I was going to say connectivity issues. Hartz has been blinking, Knoll and Horn have been blinking, but they're trying to connect back with Beckner because he's almost a second up on the road, so that'll be interesting to see if a tire wear will fall off for Beckner within the next 10 laps or so. I am convinced that either Jake Nichols or Matheson will catch up with that 28.
I'm sure they will, but Travis is showing exceptional pace here. This is not a racetrack I thought that he would really have the finesse to execute well, but so far he's proving me wrong there. Travis typically is a very aggressive driver in tracks where you can kind of wrestle the car around without putting too much load is where he's going to be successful. This place requires some nuance, but right now Travis is just blitzing the field. We'll see if he can hang on to it. Here's another look at your points, though. Connor Horn, where he's running in 4th place with Beckner leading. It's not enough.
No, it's not enough, and I think it's actually going to change here because these guys are exchanging positions, both him and Curran. And whoa, he just slammed the door shut in front of Mason Kane. Mason Kane got put in the wall a little bit. That got dicey. And it gets really close when it comes down to fighting for those couple spots.
Driver the 31 not going to be happy with what Horn just did.
Yeah, that was aggressive. But if you're Connor Horn, you know the mission. And we saw Beckner do the same thing with, is it 33 earlier? He drove into somebody earlier.
It was Weishart.
Weishart, yeah.
And you can see right there now as they run nose to tail, it's a gap of 1 position between the two. So Horn pretty much needs to finish ahead of Michael Curran. They're both going to blitz by Jake Nichols around the outside, and they'll go up back to 3rd and 4th.
Whoa, all the way in the back there, you see Matthew Bell. He's trying to get around the outside of Blaze McKinney, just trying to get some sort of clean air. He's knocking on the door of the top 10, but still needs to make up some more ground if he wants to have a shot at the lead, which, by the way, 1.3 seconds separating Beckner and Seth Knoll, the 2nd place driver. It's all pack racing behind the race leader, and boy, McKinney made it 3 wide, almost got into Matheson there.
I wanted to notice the wheelbase that Travis Beckner is on. It's still his Logitech wheel, but it's not moving around. He's got that new rig that he got a couple of weeks ago. I'm not sure if you missed the update on this, but his family got him a new rig, and it is bolted to the ground, and you know what that means is I think he's going to find some extra speed. I mentioned that nuance.
I was going to say,
that's going to help.
A lot of speed.
I mean, if this is Travis's raw pace here, everybody else has got to take note.
And who we only needed was not a foldable table.
It makes a difference. It really does make a difference.
Showing that out of the track.
All I need to do is to be able to vote because that was an early birthday gift, and since then Travis is now a legal adult, so he can vote, and that should spell trouble for the field because he's driven away over a second and close to a second and a half because of that new steering wheel setup.
And he continues to go faster. I mean, last time by, Noel was a little quicker, but he was 0.8 ahead, then 1.3 ahead. So keep an eye on this and see if the field can run him back down. But Jake Matheson has got his hands full right now with the field. 3 wide. Miller, Springer, Kane, a whole bunch of others back here fighting.
Yeah, a lot of fighting there. You can see David Weiser in the middle of a 3 wide situation. Matthew Bell finally breaking inside the top 10.
He hit the wall.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he was scraping the wall there.
He kissed it a little bit there, running a little bit too up there. I was just about to say he broke inside the top 10 for the first time, falling back out now again, has to push himself back up again. He's in a pretty much must-win situation at number 9.
Yeah, top 5 all consisting of playoff drivers. They're all not locked in, but 2 of them definitely are not locked in to the top 4 just yet. Needing a win to get in. That's held by Beckner. Bondurant in the wall in the back. Meanwhile, they're still duking it out inside the top 5, and we mentioned that Jake Nichols and Jake Matheson preserving their tires. Matheson really hasn't made the ground up yet, but Jake Nichols has, running in 5th. Springer trying to take that spot away, as there comes Michael Curran trying to get below Connor Horn for position.
It's just so much jockeying right now up inside the top 5 that they are still giving up time to Travis Beckner while they fight each other. Some of the front runners here, Seth Knoll and slide!
Oh.
The 30 car of Miller, all sorts of hung out sideways. I don't know how he saved that. That thing was...
Oh, we're just 4 wide. Hang on. Don't say anything yet.
Oh, there they go.
Wide.
Crash.
Oh.
Kane in the wall hard out at 4.
Yeah, I smelled something was coming up after turn 4, and unfortunately I was right. I think they were 5 wide there for a second.
That's another tough break for Mason Kane, who always has speed, always seems to find himself inside the top 10, but something just seems to happen when he's caught up in the wrong place at the wrong time, and it just happened there.
This car is junk. And this is our 20-lap caution clock, right on cue. But let's go back and have a look. I mean, this is really unfortunate for Mason Kane.
Yeah, this started with Blaze McKinney got into the back of Miller right there, entering turn 3, and somehow the 30 was able to save it. They weren't quite out of the clear because it caused everyone a bunch up here. They were 4 wide, and then as they catch Springer 5 wide off the corner, that's just not going to work.
Unfortunate there for Kane, Jeremy Miller, Blaze McKinney, and Ed Robertson almost got in that late.
Yeah, I think Kane is just trying to avoid the 51 and just that little hesitation. Oh, that's a big hit, too. McKinney just a victim in that one after setting the 30 sideways, but you know, this is the he gave the 30 a shot going off into the corner, and that kind of set this whole scenario up. So maybe not completely faultless here, but again, you know, the entropy will always get more chaotic. Bam, into the wall.
Yeah, I'm sure Travis Beckner's annoyed with that because all his hard work has been reset now.
And everybody back down on pit lane. No surprises here. Imagine 4 tires and fuel. Casey Lakatos is going to roll through. Let's see what the field does. Does anybody try 2? Is that worth
I would
going?
be surprised.
I'd say if you were going to try 2, the first pit stop would have been the right time to do so.
And you guys are right. Everybody took 4.
I think Jacob Bell got bopped for speeding.
That's no fun. Came out
Oh,
P9.
no, he's just joking. Never mind. I heard him say something on the radio. He's like, what do you mean speeding? And I was like, oh, that's speeding.
So Travis Beckner, guys, he has been the driver to beat so far. Do you think he does this again? If he does this again on this next run, there is a serious argument to be made that he could win this race without, I mean, looking like Verstappen.
I don't think he's going to be able, they're either going to let him do it a second time. I think everyone's going to be looking and be like, okay, we're going to try to keep up with him instead of kind of just letting him go. I think they might have expected him to push, and then eventually they'll reel him back in, but he kept going in the opposite direction as Casey Lakatos comes in for his pit stop.
And we should get the lights out on the pace car, and we do. And before we get back to the restart here, man, it has been a spicy race, though, hasn't it, guys? It's just been really, really excellent so far. Almost as spicy as Rick's Hot Sauce. Race fans, be sure to check out rickshotsauce.com for some of the best hot sauces made locally in South Florida. Try the Loxahatchee Classic, Golden Garlic, Palm Beach Pineapple, or South Beach Heat. Follow the Rick's Hot Sauce Rookie of the Year battle in the Area Cup Series and see which driver will take home the $100 prize as the highest finishing rookie in the point standings. And Jake Matheson has pretty much got that pretty good spot.
No. You don't say.
If we go green to the end here, guys, we should be in a one more pit stop scenario. I think if we could go 35-ish, 40 laps, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
I would agree with that.
I just don't think we're going to have to.
We shall see. And also, a thing we should check out too is the points going in before we go to the restart here. This is updated as they run. Get Beckner still leading, putting that battle for 4th place really close. Connor Horn, Michael Curran, Seth Knoll, all within a couple points of each other, and still looking at Scioli and Bell. They've not been making a whole lot of noise. They're really got the step it up here as we approach the second half of this race.
Getting close to it. Area Cup Series racing. Next week, we will go racing in my home, well, not hometown, current place of residence, Windy City, Chicago. Green flag, though, back in California. And Beckner's gone.
He's gone again. Another great restart again. It's a matter of just can he keep it going here as everyone catches back up to speed, and they all fan out all over the racetrack here, entering turns 1 and 2.
Yeah, 3 wide and 4 wide in the back as they're going to try and navigate their way down the backstretch. Going to be tight doing so. Horn up to 2nd, though. That's a good run for him. He cannot afford to lose any spots in the meantime. Here comes Seth Knoll, going to make it 2 wide down to the bottom. Matheson and Curran side by side for 4th.
He's going to try to clear the 42, but he did not. Connor's not going to let him have it. These two are fighting for the last spot into the playoffs next week in Chicago. And Seth clears the 42, but just.
Yeah, I can tell that Connor didn't want to let him in line, but he had to. Same thing, pitched him down to the bottom. Now just going to let him get up top. They're trying to use that better line around the outside. See if he can get past the 1. I think he should be able to on exit.
Justin Sogak in turn 1. Spun out as the caution is out for the 3rd time today. Ooh! Greg Mitchell.
Yeah, that was an interesting one.
I think
Scratcher.
I think he might have just thought he had a lot more space up than he did because it just looks like a big miscalculation.
Yeah, I think he just mistimed it. I think figured the 67 was going faster. Unfortunately, not fast enough to clear him in behind. Oh, that was a great save by Anasoga.
Yeah, kept it straight and out of the fence, and just a little bit of car-to-car contact there, but that will most likely be a penalty for the 2, but I don't think he meant to do that. It just looked like it was, as you pointed out, a miscalculation, mistiming it as the 2 came up, or sorry, the 67 drove around him, just trying to sneak back in before turn 1. It all went wrong. So I don't think we'll see any pit stops here. But the battle between these two, it's Seth Knoll and Connor Horn. This one has been fierce so far tonight. Seth came in behind Connor Horn in the standings, but really can't afford to have that one up front because if he were to take the win, it doesn't matter really. Connor would just have to outrace Curhan, and that may or may not happen also.
Yeah, I was going to say it is so close up near the top of the standings for these drivers. Just coming into this race in general is close, and the way they're running, it's getting even closer. And I can imagine for these drivers, constantly thinking in the back of the mind. Not sure if they even watching the broadcast or even keep a live view because I don't think they really know exactly how they're comparing to the others. They have a general idea of where they need to run and how many points they need to be ahead of certain drivers, but you can only kind of guess, or you can watch the broadcast.
Some do have it up just to be in the know about the different opinions and whatnot on the track and even in the booth, but especially whenever it's a time like this where points matter. I think Connor Horn got the message, hey, I'm racing against the 1, I'm racing against the 24, it's this close, I'm ahead by this many points, or behind by that many points. Meanwhile, Jake Matheson, he's just chilling. He's on cruise control.
You can see that smirk on his face. He knows he's chilling too. Got the big green number board background on the broadcast, and that's the best sight that the drivers have had the last couple of weeks is get that green background. You've got nothing to worry about.
The thing is, Matheson been the only one to lock himself in to both rounds?
I think you're right. At least
he's been chilling for half of these playoffs.
He's even on his phone.
Yeah, look at that. Don't text and drive, kids.
Almost dropped his phone.
As he does so.
Other drivers up in the mix here. David Weishart, 7th. Michael Curhan. He has been a solid top 5 driver. So Finian, even if my pick doesn't win the race, he's going to get me some decent points today. So better watch out.
Oh, you say that. You probably just jinxed him. He's going to get taken out in a wreck. Totally not leaking the script early.
What script?
Ricky Springer, the hedgehog, new in the household. That's not Ricky. Ricky. There he is. I want to know more about hedgehogs, and I wish I could.
I was going to say, I really wish you cut him his hedgehog just on top of his head.
I'm going to look hedgehog. I need to Google this. It is spiny. A spiny mammal of the sun family.
They're just not as like prickly as a porcupine.
Prickly as a porcupine. There are 17 species of hedgehog throughout parts of Europe, Asia, Africa, and New Zealand.
How do you get one?
The name hedgehog came into use around the year 1450, named after a Middle English word because it frequents hedgerows and looks like it's got a pig-like snout.
I guess.
Another name that is used is hedge pig.
I've never heard that.
The spines are not poisonous or barbed, and unlike the quills of a porcupine, do not easily detach from their bodies. How do I get domestication? Most common species of hedgehog are hybrids of the white-bellied hedgehog or four-toed hedgehog. It is illegal to own a hedgehog as a pet in some U.S. states, including Hawaii, Georgia, Pennsylvania. I thought, wasn't he from Georgia?
Maybe we should stop talking about it.
Anyway, we're getting back to the green flag here in just a moment's time. Lights are out on the pace car, and
whoops.
That's the wrong script.
Whoopsie. Anyway, coming back to the green flag, lap 48, Travis Beckner. Oh, he lives in Indiana now. Okay, good. Where else are they illegal? Pennsylvania and California. Green flag.
There you go.
Couldn't bring it to the virtual motorhome this week, I suppose. Some drivers run way up to the outside wall. I think that's the 81 at Culberson. He's all the way up against the fence, and he's in the fence now in a turn 2.
Yeah, that's the tricky bit. Trying to just get up there, get as high as you can, but not getting into the wall. Because that'll really slow you down and ruin anything you could potentially have gained. So you continue off into 3. There's Jake Nichols up high. Seth Newell trying to hold up a charge from Connor Horn on the bottom lane. Let's come back to the start-finish line. 73, great run for him on the back of his teammate in the number 1 machine, Connor Horn, not quite able to keep up, and they're all stacking up towards the top side of the track.
And they're all trying to keep up with Travis Beckner. 3 car lengths lead into turn 1 as Seth Knoll trying to steer clear from the 42 of Horn. Still going to be a threat on the bottom. Meanwhile, Ed Shearer Jr., haven't talked about him too much. He's inside the top 5 with a solid run going as Jake Nichols gets a massive run on that outside by.
Again, that 28 firing out like a rocket. But Seth Knoll trying to run him down. 73, 24 up way high in 3 and 4. Nick Scioli closing in again. Also, we haven't really talked about him a lot. He is a playoff driver. If he would win this race, he's through. But he really effectively has to win.
Yeah.
And he has not really been any higher than 11th, except for right about now.
Hey, look at that. Oh, up. Just says he's going to say it. Up. Nope, I was waiting for Bell to come back in the picture. He's going to say all the player drivers in the top 10. Whoa, someone got on the wall. Whoa, someone got on the wall again.
Slate in the 8 just pounded the outside wall in the back.
Was it Slate and Okresic? Or no, it was Okresic and Nichols here last season or a couple seasons ago.
And then Okresic correct on that too.
Lap 50. Closing in halfway in about 2.5 laps time.
Everyone's trying to keep up with Travis Beckner at the moment, make sure that he doesn't escape off into the distance. and breaks the lead, although he looks like he's kind of getting there again. And Connor Horn trying to keep up with him as much as he can, but no dice at the moment. Seth Knoll, a big run on the back of the 42, as well as his teammate, 73 of Nichols.
Nichols doesn't have enough to get below the 17 and try to clear him off the turn, but still side by side with him, going to have a nice run off turn 4. And again, they're still all trying to get around Travis Beckner. They're trying to at least catch up to the same zip code as him, because he's a half second ahead of him.
Connor Horn holding second for now, but Seth Knoll just tried to clear him, and he did. Connor's got the tongue hanging out. He's going to drive to the inside again out of turn 2.
And this is the bit where it really hurts them, because they're so busy fighting each other, they're just kind of letting Beckner go off and drive his own race. And that's where he's been able to make up some spots. So Horn able to navigate around Seth Knoll again, puts himself back in second place.
Matthewson had to zip to the right in the entry of turn 3 to avoid the 87 of Blaze McKinney. That was almost a close call there, but Connor Horn holding on to second. Oh, very dicey blocks being made by the 42, but the one's going to have a run to the inside, and Nichols just going to be in the catbird seat in turn 1.
It's kind of getting ganged up on by the solar flare guys, Connor Horn is, and see if he can battle the 1 down the backstretch, but the 73 is likely going to give the 1 a shove, and that will help Seth Knoll into turn 3. Side by side for second place. Beckner puts 0.7 of a second on these two. Jake looks up high. He's going to take the rim ride here on the outside lane.
Going to try to do it. It's really hard to do it off of turn 4. It's a much better run off of turn 2. Gets a great run, and his teammate going to dive down low. And just like that, whoa. A little bit of a magic trick from Connor Horn up ahead.
Disappearing, but no funny hat or rabbit.
Car would be too big to fit in any of those.
Yes. Maybe the hat's in the car.
Maybe the car is the hat.
Down the backstretch. Battles continue as the 56 tries to make his way back up inside the top 5. I thought Matheson would be a bit more of a threat in this race, but we haven't really seen him be dominant for us. That first run, I thought he was going to have the long run pace to really be the one to beat, but he's been struggling as he chops ahead of the 24 of Michael Curham.
I think a lot of this is just him biding his time, trying not to make too aggressive of a move early on, save his stuff for later. We're officially halfway through this race.
Whoa.
And there's Horn still alongside the newer of the 73 car. Trying to side draft him down the backstretch. You see them going about a few lanes below the racing surface. Well, not really below the racing surface, but the preferred groove. They're still chopping it up for second.
Ooh, Connor really forcing Jake to keep tight to the inside groove there, and that's going to compromise Jake's exit and leave him vulnerable to the pack of hungry wolves behind him, including Ed Sherrod Jr., who started 24th in this race. Just like we had seen Mason Kane earlier. Kane's race ended effectively 16 laps ago from contact. And the 1 of Seth Knoll sees a gap in the middle, but it's likely going to close before he gets there.
Yeah, it's trouble. I think it's so tempting to let go, but you know, as a driver, you have to maybe just wait it out, because that move could be your last, and with so much in the line for the playoff drivers, it's hard to make a move like that at this point in the race, maybe the last lap. Ooh, it's almost 4 wide here in behind.
Gonna get close.
Oh, the 56 wiggled huge out of 4. This Nichols and Horn battle is going to get really feisty.
Connor Horn doing the switch back, trying to go now to the bottom lane, see if he can get past Nichols. Nichols, however, I think going to have a little bit of a better run off on the top. So that's 73 ahead of the 42.
He'll have to try and set sail for Travis Beckner. It's a second gap between the race leader and the 28 car. Again, he entered this race below the cutoff line, basically in a scenario where points might not be an option. A win would probably be the most preferred way to get his ticket punched into the championship round. And we're halfway through, doing a good job of doing so as they continue to shuffle around on the front stretch. 1.03 across the stripe, the gap between Nichols and Travis Beckner.
This would be a really big upset, I think, if Travis Beckner were to be able to do this. He didn't come in here and lead by a little bit. If he does this for the rest of the race and wins this, it will just absolutely be a huge threat next week at Chicagoland Speedway, because Travis is showing excellent pace. And, you know, in a vacuum, I wouldn't think too much of this. I would just liken it up to practicing a lot at this racetrack. But with that new rig, that's a new dynamic. If it really is helping him be more consistent, to be more precise, everybody else look out, because Travis Beckner could steal this championship away from the 56 and from the 73.
What a story that would be.
Oh my gosh. And after the dramatic season it has been for the 28. Whoa, crash into turn 1. Garrett Grant and Ray Slate. Fourth caution of the night, and the 5 and the 8 are sideways and stopped in the middle of 1 and 2.
Oh, don't think Slate was happy with the 5 of Garrett Grant.
Let's have a look at it. Came right by the camera shot there, and the 8 right there. Oh man!
Yeah,
it's the
got a
7-1
bump.
of the game as well.
What really helped, I think, was the bump from Ricky Springer back at Garrett Grant, kind of for a kind of domino effect, and kind of went into each other.
Yeah, because Grant really couldn't check up there because he was getting pushed from Springer, so good unfortunate set of circumstances there.
Yeah, that's no fun though for either of those guys. I mean, I would chalk that one up likely to a racing incident, just from the nature of the beast.
And guess what lap it is?
Why?
Caution clock.
Oh,
lap 16.
It has just been on the money today, hasn't it? We had one outlier caution, but otherwise have been lap 20, 40, and 60.
Give us ideas for next season.
Oh, God, please.
JT says, Travis found, he says, bro found some nuts and bolts and gained 2 tenths. Crazy. Well, back on pit lane.
Everyone coming on down. They're really going to be running out of tires at this point. I think they've pit almost every caution.
Yeah, they didn't pit at that third one because it was right after the lap 40 yellow.
Yes.
So this is their third set of tires now that they would be taking.
I think that leaves them with one left.
Assuming that we get a caution at lap 80. Might be all they need. 45 laps to the end from here. It's a stretch. I don't think we're going to have to worry about it.
No, I think they should be able to.
Travis Beckner wins the race off pit lane, but just have a look at this on the SimRat Market replay. 28's the 4th car in the shot here.
He made sure. He made sure he got out ahead of Jake Nichols. And it was actually funny, as soon as the caution came out, Seth Noel jumped on the radio. It's gone over, and he was like, why do you keep racing, me and Jake so hard? And then Connor comes back, he's like, well, why are you guys racing me so hard?
They signed up for a race,
I'm just out here trying to run. So either party's debating who's racing each other because they're letting Travis Beckner drive off into the distance.
I mean, well, the problem is for both of them, they're both kind of invested in that last spot. And for one of them, it might not even matter if the 28 wins. So that's why they're frustrated, is because if they didn't race each other so hard and they could run down the 28, then they both could get in theory. But the problem is Michael Curhan is there as well.
Yeah, they can really change up the way things play out here as they run.
Nice quick yellows here at Auto Club, I like.
I was going to say, really do enjoy them.
Where were we recently where they have a gazillion laps? Was it Richmond?
Iowa, I think.
Iowa.
Had
Yeah.
the pretty lengthy ones.
Doubled up for the restart. And it is just a rainbow of colors up here at the front. Not looking good for Matthew Bell at the moment. For James Scioli, he's got some work to do still, but the other 6 playoff competitors still fighting hard for a chance to get in to the last round
Yeah, and if you want to pull up the graphic, take another look at it before we go back to green as they run. And look how close it is. Michael Curran, 1 point ahead of Connor Horn, who is 1 point ahead of Seth Knoll. So what a lot of these guys need is for Travis Beckner to have something bad happen to him.
Like getting passed for the lead, right?
Yes, essentially. It's, as it stands on the restarts, no one's been able to touch him. As all they need is that 28 just slip out one spot, and he's a non-factor.
Well, that one spot is the most important one, because if he were to win this race, currently Horn and Knoll are both out and will not have a chance to compete for a title next week in Chicago. Pace car pulls off. We're going back to racing, lap 62 of 105. About 30 minutes of racing remaining. Green flag and another good launch by the 28. Matheson up to second place here, but for how long, as the 73 and 1 are line to stern here on the back straightaway. Connor Horn going to give the one a bit of a shove. Try to move that outside lane a bit forward, but here comes Blaze McKinney to the bottom. He's been up here, kind of the mosquito in the ear as they try to swat him away.
Yeah, I was going to say, they definitely don't want him to interfere, but really with the 73 to 1 in
Matheson cleared himself on the nose. The 73 over and under comes Jake Nichols. He wants second place back. That was tight and dicey there, huh?
Yeah, it was really tight and dicey here. But I was going to say is what a lot of these guys could really benefit from. They put their differences aside and work together. They can get this, just try to get this 28 car out of the lead. As Seth Knoll does a slide job in front of Matheson, who almost gets into the back of Connor Horn. Oh, Matheson in the wall off the back of Connor Horn as they're all stacking up nose to tail in the back straight. That was almost a wreck out of two.
Yeah, meanwhile, Jake Nichols has finally caught up with Travis Beckner, going to try and clear him for the lead. That was an aggressive move from Seth Knoll. Had everyone bottled up, and right on the bumper here, we're looking at Travis Beckner, who's currently behind Jake Nichols. Haven't seen that in quite some time, because he's been a second around the field. Now he's looking to take the lead back in turn one.
Back to the bottom goes the 28 of Travis Beckner. He's led basically the last 40 laps to the bottom, trying to wrestle it away from the 73. Not going to clear him out of two. Oh, he will.
He knows that championship is riding on this potential pass right here. He wants to try to stay ahead as much as possible. No one's been able to touch him while he's up in the front, and of course Jake Nichols trying to change all that.
Yeah, Nichols, he sees the 28 as a contender if he can run like this at Auto Club. Who knows what he could do next week in Chicagoland if he does win. So he's trying to regain that ground that he just lost to the 28 of Beckner. Meanwhile, Blaze McKinney holding on to third from Seth Knoll. They're all single file and such going into turn one.
Yeah, I was surprised after that big gaggle about a lap and a half ago, and they all smashed into the back straightaway wall, that they've actually been able to get what I would say is relatively organized after that. They were single file for most of the backstretch the next time around. And again, they can't be side by side if they want to keep Travis Beckner in check.
James Schuyler in the wall. Big hit to the wall. He tried to clear between himself, Connor Horn, and Edward Shearer Jr. 17. The contact sent the 7 into the wall. Looks like he's okay for now.
We'll have to see how much, if there's any sort of damage to the 7, if that's going to play a factor. Meanwhile, the 73, he has a peek to the outside. Going to be side by side for a lead in turn 1 and 2 with Blaze McKinney riding on the coattails of Jake Nichols.
Beckner going to try to throw the block here out of 2. Yes, he will. Covers off the 73. Here comes McKinney to the bottom now.
Getting intervening here. That's not what Beckner needs. He goes down to block the 87's path forward, or at least trying to prevent him from moving forward, pinching him to the inside. Beckner trying to control this race.
Great run off the corner for Jake Nichols. Going to give a little bit of a tap to the 87, who now steers clear for second. On board with Nichols as he gives a tap and momentum swing to the 87 of Blaze McKinney. He's going to take it low in the 1 and 2. Going to try and get that lead, now running the middle groove.
Yeah, well, Travis didn't really get as good of a launch on this most recent restart. He wasn't able to get the gap that he was able to get before. Once he broke that draft finian, he was kind of untouchable, but now he's definitely on fierce defense. He's been able to hold it off, but it's definitely not as much of an advantage as he's had the previous couple of runs.
Yeah, I think everyone's again been privy to what he's been doing, just trying to take off and break away from the field, and they've been a little bit more attuned to that, so they're trying to fight maybe a little bit less to keep that 28 until, as I say, that McKinney almost on a hip check to Jake Nichols on the front straightaway, trying to prevent that 73 from going around the outside.
Yeah, Nichols going to try and get the run through 1 and 2 to give a big push to the 87 down the backstretch. I would assume that he's able to do so. Looks like he's going to have a slight nudge going into the turn. Still 3 car lengths separating first and second place. Meanwhile, Noel and Curran going to be duking it out for fourth as Nichols once again runs the outside group.
And Connor Horns dropped to 7th, but Curhan and Noel 4th and 5th. So that last spot in for the title run next week. Those drivers are 1st, 4th, 5th, and 7th.
Yeah, it's all so close here as they run. Actually, take a look at the points as they run. At the moment, not a whole lot has changed. A couple points shuffling around. Again, it's all hinging on whether or not Beckner walks away with the lead as Springer got into the wall. Couple cars very close to that wall here off of turn 2, but Curran in by 2 points over Connor Horn and Noel tied.
Just amazing how tight it is here for these positions. But look at what Travis is doing again, guys. Now he's half a second ahead, and it's going to get hard to run him back down. I don't know what is going on with this 28, but he has just simply gotten speed this week. He's led 58 laps.
I was going to say he's definitely led most laps, so I'll give him the point for that too, because not that it matters the way he's running. Again, he does need to win this race, though. So he needs to keep doing what he's doing out in front and not change a thing.
He entered this race with the mentality of, if I don't win, I'm not going to be able to hunt for a championship. So he's put all his eggs in the basket, and he's got those laps led locked up. But if he loses this lead, there's still 30 or so laps to go, so anything can happen. But if he loses this lead, it's going to be interesting to see where he finds himself in the point standings.
The first 20 laps were really chaotic, and we had 3 or 4 or 5 different drivers that led the race. We've had 6 different leaders over the course of this race, 10 lead changes, but for the most part, it's been Beckner all out front since that first yellow back at lap number 20.
Jake Matheson just parked his car in front of Connor Horn to stop his momentum. It's getting a little bit quieter now here as these guys are fanning out. I'm hearing some rumors that they should be good to go till the end, so I think that's what we're seeing these guys planning for. He's playing a little bit of the long game.
On board with Horn going into turn 1, currently in the 7th spot. Has a solid run going so far, but can't afford any sort of mistakes from this point on. Scott Weissart trying to get around him on the outside. Meanwhile, getting around Nichols and staying around him on the outside is Blaze McKinney as he's closing the gap a little bit to Travis Beckner. 3 car lengths separating the 2 in the turn 3.
Yeah, I think it's definitely helping that they're not running side by side. Once they get single filed out, drivers can start to kind of peel away at the lead Beckner has grown. But if they start to fight amongst themselves, it seems pretty clear that Travis has got the car to beat. But working lap 73 of 105, and laps are ticking down, about 20 minutes worth of racing. We'll see how this pans out. There's a lot of racing left to go still.
So a lot of racing left to go. It's far from over. The yellows are going to be far from over, so that could definitely upset the balance here. Riding aboard with Jake Nichols on the back straightaway as he's in tow with Blaze McKinney, who's been upsetting this battle up for the front. McKinney, of course, eliminated in the previous round of the playoffs.
And McKinney had that win in Indianapolis, that clutch win to get him inside the playoffs, but wasn't able to make it to the second round of it, but is still contending for a win. Putting in the second spot, got Jake Nichols, going to give him a shot at getting into turn 1.
Like he wanted to go around him, but McKinney's kind of got his eyes up in the rearview mirror to keep the 73 from doing that easily. They have run Beckner back down as Curhan's going to be side by side with Matheson here. Well, maybe nose to tail. Matheson going to give him a shove.
Well, we always say, though, catching is one thing, passing is another. So can any of these drivers in behind him, can they get around the 28, even though they're so close?
They're definitely within reach now over the last handful of laps. McKinney's closed the gap between himself and Beckner. Not sure he's going to be able to make a move to the inside. Might try the outside. He is going to try the outside. McKinney to the outside of Beckner, trying to take the lead away right along his door.
Yeah, really didn't leave a lot of space on the bottom of the track. Travis Beckner is going to have to get pinched off here, and see the oh heck out of the mouth of Travis Beckner down the back straightaway. Here comes the 73. This is not what Beckner needs if he wants to go on and win this race.
No, it absolutely is in here. He's got to fight for that spot back from McKinney now. Got to be a little bit creative. Maybe not push a little bit too much, because again, don't think these guys are going to come back down pit road again. So you have to keep that mindset. You know what, you want to push, but not too hard.
There's a block there from Beckner across the nose of Nichols. Less than 30 to go here from Auto Club, and that could be the ticket to the championship 4 for Travis Beckner right in front of him. Blaze McKinney took the lead just a lap ago. Now he's trying to get a run to the inside and get alongside the 87, but to no avail down the back.
Oh, car's kind of scattering on the backstretch, scraping the concrete. Travis is keeping in touch with the 87. I just don't think he can completely focus out the windshield with the 73 there. Great run here through the center of 3 and 4, and he'll be alongside McKinney again from the front straightaway. Will this leave them vulnerable to the 73, though? Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to be 3 wide for the lead. No. Beckner covers it off. Well,
Beckner
maybe this time.
A shot, and McKinney a hip check, almost putting Nichols into the wall, trying to keep the 73 at bay. 3 wide off in a 1. Nichols going to lose out because of that hip check.
Oh, Beckner loose.
Oh,
he's really loose.
Oh, they're all loose.
Whoa, here comes Nichols, 4 lanes below the main surface. He's going to try and take the lead and clear Blaze McKinney heading into turn 3.
He's got it. Jake Nichols takes the top spot, slipping and sliding everywhere now. The track is hot and it is slick. Beckner takes second place away from McKinney. Watch out for the 1 car with a big run coming as well. Here's Curhan and others in the mix. Nose to tail, side by side, 3 wide for the lead here at Fontana.
Beckner trying to side draft to get any sort of run built up into turn 1. He does not want to give this lead away. Like you mentioned, middle 3 wide, and it's going to be McKinney up on the bottom.
Watch Beckner.
Now Beckner going down to the bottom.
Oh, Nichols going to have a run on the outside. He's
Oh,
going to
look out!
Beckner. Nichols lost 2. He's into Nichols. They touched down the backstretch. Beckner still sideways. Not sure how a caution hasn't come out yet, but that could have been really bad, and the caution now flies.
Damage on the 28. That was almost catastrophic for a handful of drivers. Damage on the 73 as well. And Finian, what lap is it?
Oh, he can't make this
Does
up.
that mean we're getting a caution with 5 to go?
Oh, I guess it has to be at this point. You can't make it up.
28 was just really sideways there.
I thought he was going to save it right there at the end of the game. Went back to the right, and maybe got to the 73. Did the right thing of locking it down just to prevent any more damage.
Yeah, I don't think if he didn't lock it down, he would have hit more. So that's kind of,
yeah,
kind of the best thing
he's
to
hitting
do
right
there.
back into the wall. He would have been out.
Yeah, just big counter steer. The 73 is going to be hurting though. That is a big hit, and that's concrete there.
I want to see that riding on board with Seth Mill.
He's on board with the 73. Nice break there, and bam.
Yeah, that's going to be a hard hit. Contact on the left side and also with the wall on the right side. And take a look at Seth Mill because he got a great view of this. Ooh.
Well, everybody passed the test that time, dodging and weaving and missing the wreck, and everybody's on pit lane. Rafe Slate out of this race. Justin Bondurant recently pulled off. So did Spencer Burns. Travis Beckner is 21st now with 25 laps to go after leading
And
over 60
he is going to get an EOL as well, which I'm not too surprised with.
Yeah, it's just.
But that's going to hurt him.
Yeah. I don't think it's not that big of a deal because he's already at the back of the field and there's not that many cars a lap down, but it's not going to help.
No, well, I mean, I know it's going to be tough. You really think he has a chance to climb you back? A lot of split over 20 spots in 20 laps.
And everyone 4 tires. McKinney off pit lane, then Matheson, Knoll, Horn.
Yeah, Beckner and Jake Nichols sitting down to get repairs on pit lane.
This was the lap prior. 28 big slide there. This was that 3 wide pass for the lead.
That was greatly executed by 73. Nichols read that perfectly and put his car up in front.
Connor Horn actually got
And
the
even
wall in the
then-
background.
Yeah, well, those guys were on their wits' end with the tires.
Nick Nichols on pit lane, still receiving repairs.
Yeah, I think he's just sitting. He's like, might as well fix this all up before getting back there. Interesting thing will be to see how this sorts the playoff drivers, because this is going to be a big swing.
But it's certainly going to help Connor Horn with that 28 out. We'll definitely wait and see how that shuffles things out.
Yeah, give me about 30 seconds, and we'll find out how to get shuffled out.
While we're waiting for the points and the restart, we'll talk about a few more things before we inevitably get into some chaotic last 20 laps of racing. Race fans, no need to fear. Winter is about to disappear. It's your last chance to shop from our new selections of champion hoodies, jackets, and sweatshirts before they're gone. Easier to shop, quicker to ship, better to wear. That's shop.areaiRacing.com. Daylight savings time over the weekend.
Oh,
Man, I was at a racetrack and had to be up for 7:30 broadcast start, so that was a tough one. It is every year. We did a Formula One style standing start at COTA with our GLTC cars. Got to play my best impression of Crofty for a quarter of a lap. Here's your points.
holy cow, it's close.
Yeah,
Look
Connor
at that.
Horn.
Connor
Wow.
Horn, Jake Nichols tied. They're 1 point ahead of Michael Curran, and then Seth Tolles 1 point behind them. That is very close, especially considering that Horn, Knoll, and Curran are 3rd, 4th, and 5th. They don't have a lot of point positions to gain other than getting to the lead.
Yeah, the thing about what's interesting is that the top 4 are all very close, but there's not that many drivers below the top 4 that can take advantage of it because Scioli and Beckner are so far back. So
Scioli's, well, I don't even need points, but he's the 3rd car on the outside.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Yes.
it actually is a run. So Nichols is also to the second to last car in the lead lap, only to Beckner's the last car in the lead lap. So as long as Nichols finishes on the lead lap, he's looking to be almost guaranteed in.
lap 83 of 105, last 16 minutes or so of racing. Assuming we go green, here we go, back underway in Fontana, California. Blaze McKinney won back at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Could he steal another playoff race in his hot postseason?
Yeah, we'll see. He's got a really good car at the moment. We'll see. These guys are going to be fighting out because they're going to be fighting amongst themselves. They want that chance at a championship. I mean, if they can get the win, they'll take that as that's Bell.
And more cars in trouble right in the middle of the field. Beckner's around,
Oh,
and he's in the wall hard.
and I think that's going to write that off right there. That was a big lift to that inside wall.
81 of Culberson and more. Wow. So let's go back, and it starts with, I thought the 9 was the first car I saw.
Yes, he was the first car around. Off the corner, looks like he came up as Culberson went. Sorry, he came down as Culberson went up, and they kind of met each other in the middle of the track.
Culberson was back here.
Sorry,
That
not
was
Newbigging. Newbigging, sorry.
Oh, man. Back across the road, and Greg Mitchell, Tyler Nichols, Justin Asogak, and there's the 28. And didn't hit as hard as I thought he did. Thought he went in nose first based on the angle that he left the road at. But it's not going to help.
No, it's not
It's still a pretty hard hit.
Yeah, I'm just worried he got a decent hit on the right front. So, I mean, I don't know if he's going to have enough time to even repair that thing.
He led 63 laps, more than half this race.
And again, you look back and you talked about it before. We know he's a little bit aggressive. I think maybe a little bit too aggressive. That's kind of what got him in the situation in the first place. He pushed a little bit too hard.
Yeah, while he was up front, right? I mean, if he had settled, I mean, the problem is if he had finished 3rd in this race, he wasn't going to move on. So he really did need to win, probably.
Yeah, I mean, he pretty much needed a win, but, you know, I think, you know, obviously, hindsight's 20/20. He probably should have backed off a little bit because we still got quite a bit of racing left to go. We got, 20 laps to go now. So
we'll wait till positions stabilize and update the points when we can, and we'll find out exactly how things look at this moment. But again, I think Connor Horn and Seth Knoll are really, the situation hasn't really changed from the start of the race. Now that the 28 is down the order, it's just the 73 is much closer to being out of the picture. But he was able to grab a couple spots in all that chaos. He's up to 14th now after caution, but he's back down on pit road again.
yeah, I think just getting more of the repairs done. I don't think he was able to finish. In fact, there's quite a few cars down on pit lane. 14 back to 21st. Pit road's a busy place.
Yeah, lots of repairs going on. None of these are standard pit stops. Beckner, Anasogak, Nichols, all drivers involved. Newbegin. And the attrition rate has been a lot higher than I thought it was going to be or was expecting it to be. Started this race with 32 cars. 10 of them are out, which is a lot.
Yeah, that is quite a bit for Auto Club, I would think.
It seems to kind of go that way when you get long races here. The crashes are not little. And even though there's a lot of pavement, you're going so fast that when a wreck happens, it's just not a good time.
All right, we can take a look at the points again before we go back green. Couple games here and there. More or less the same. It's very tight.
I'm going to show you my cat because I've been gone for 4 days, and this is what I get. I got home this morning, and this is what he's been doing. Ow, he's got his nails dug in my neck now.
Yeah, because you're going to leave otherwise. But let's go. I'll never let go, Jack.
Doubling up for the restart. 19 laps to go. And Seth Knoll is 1 point away from being in the show next week at Chicagoland. And he's third.
It's going to be really close to see how it's going to play out. It's going to be just a small shuffle here. 20 laps of racing left to go. Decent amount of racing still left to go. We'll see how it plays out. Everyone's good to go till the end. Fuel not a factor. It's going to be a sprint to the line.
Already Connor Horn jumping to the high side ahead of Curran. Wanted the outside lane, and Seth Knoll gets there first.
Knoll trying to work around the outside, see if he can clear Jake Matheson, have a chance at getting to Blaze McKinney. Connor Horn also getting a run on the 56, gives him a bump on the bottom lane.
Side by side down the backstretch, plenty of rows deep. Knoll clear a second for now, but Matheson going to send it down into turn 3. McKinney trying to drive away with it, but the one of Knoll trying to work that outside lane and get a clear shot of the 56 and clear shot of the leader.
Connor Horn's in an okay spot here, but it's not safe by any stretch. Needs to race this all the way back to the checkers. Looking for second place now. McKinney just trying to get the heck out of Dodge away from these playoff drivers that are scrapping so hard.
Yeah, he's like, I want to get away from all of you guys so I can run away with this again to get a win. So he's going to try to do that. And look at that, James Scioli now battling with Jake Matheson. I have not seen that 7 up near the front all race long, right until the end here, trying to make some noise again. He's quite a ways back in the point, so he's got a lot to make up. If anything, he needs to get up there and get this win.
And slowly, methodically working his way towards the front, but he is running out of time. They're coming to 17 laps to go. Weishart in the wall, coming out of 4. A couple of guys still scraping it, but the 7 has fought and clawed his way toward the top 5 spot, but he's still got to get that win.
Bottom is as high as he's run all day is P5 for Scioli. But McKinney has 0.4 of a second on Seth Knoll. And Knoll and Horn frustrated at each other earlier in the race for racing each other so hard. Seth is now in a position where I think he might knock Curhan out, especially with Curhan back here fighting for position. We'll see how the points shake out, but it's going to be a 1 point here or there for the last spot.
Take a look at them right now.
Knoll's in, Curran's out as it stands.
And as Nichols is working up through the field, he's kind of securing that second spot again. As he gains more and more spots, Connor Horn up ahead by just a small margin, and the smallest margin between Seth Knoll and Kerr.
And then there you see the 7th guy, 6th on the track and 6th in the standings, but he's going to have to win in order to diminish those odds at missing the round of 4, the championship round, as he is still trying to fight well, almost getting to scraping the wall there, but still holding back the 33 of Weishart, and 15 laps to go now. Knoll catching McKinney, still not close enough to make a move.
Yeah, it's going to be game on up here for the lead, I think, though. 15 to go. And Knoll has run that 87 back down. But will the 42 create a complication? Will Jake Matheson, again, Matheson's locked in. He doesn't have to win this race, doesn't even have to finish it, but he's going to try.
Might as well, right?
Might as well.
He's got 6 wins this season, this number 56 car. And Jake Nichols, only 1 win to his name this season so far.
I can't believe that after the dominance he had last year.
You see on board with Matheson there, the snake method, working to go from top to bottom, back to top to get the preferred groove and the preferred arc into turn 1 and 2. Most of the guys running the outside lane, and McKinney still holding firm with that lead.
I've just been so impressed with McKinney at these. It seems like it's the tracks where you lose a lot of tire grip. Indianapolis was the other one, where he just found his way to the front, stole a win. Doing the same here at Fontana. Weishart's middle 3, Weinhardt's in the bottom. Almost trying 4. There was Springer and the 7 of Sky.
They're trying to get to him. Reinhardt's struggling in the bottom. Springer in the wall a little bit, so that allows James Scalia to keep his 6th place spot.
Closing in on turn 1 are the leaders, and McKinney's still running that outside lane. I think almost everyone except, I think, Ed Robertson down there on the bottom running that outside group, and now they start to fluctuate their way through turn 2, and Connor Horn almost had enough run to get alongside Seth Knoll, to give him the push heading into turn 3.
Competition. Darrell Waltrip brought that into the world, and I will perpetuate it. It is such a great term for moments like this. Knoll shifted early here in 3 and 4. But these two drivers working together to try to advance. Michael Curhan's up to 4th place, Vinny, and that's going to change the calculus for the 1 car.
Yeah, that's going to change it quite a bit. I think that's going to put him in at the moment. Indeed, it'll put him in by 1 point over Seth Knoll, even though Knoll is in 2nd place.
Almost as good as he can do, almost as much as he can do. He only needs 1 more. Seth Knoll does to not even have to worry about where the 24 is on the racetrack, but until he's first, he does have to worry.
Yeah, this is big. Those all 3 cars, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, if they can get that lead and win, they lock themselves in, and they don't have to worry about being just a couple points in or out. That's going to be big for these guys. They just only get on this 87, who's probably just annoying them at this point because he's not even involved in the championship. Big block from Seth Knoll, almost putting Connor on the wall.
All these guys doing everything they can. Don't count out the 7 of Scioli. Hey, don't even count out the 9 of Matthew Bell. He's inside the top 10 and is slowly catching this group of cars. You can fit the first 8 or 9 all within a second of each other, as they're still snaking down the backstretch.
Wasn't it a couple of years ago, a couple of seasons ago, when the 14 and the 73 crashed, that the 24 Curhan snuck through, and that's what put him into the final 4 in the playoffs? Wasn't it him? And here he is, 4th place, right behind 2 drivers sparring for a win. Maybe Michael Curhan is the dark horse in this one. To the bottom for 3rd, to the top. Connor Horn sees it coming and throws the block.
Blocking each other really hard right now, as Connor Horn a bit of a bump to the back of Seth Knoll, and in behind, there goes a big dive for James Scioli on the bottom, trying to take past the 24. And here comes on the 42, but again, that run off the bottom, just nothing for that compared to that run off the top.
Do or die for that 7 as he slides in front of the 56 of Matheson, so he gains a spot doing that, and Weishart taps the wall again before going into the 3. But he's going to have to make up a little bit more ground if he wants to lead.
Seth Knoll all over the back of McKinney. Michael Curran drifting out of turn 4 with a big run, and they're all racing McKinney on the bottom lane, trying to defend as much as possible. Horn a bump to the back of the 1 to the 87.
Game on for the lead here. 9 laps to go. Blaze McKinney trying to hold off a horde of playoff competitors who all want and some need this win that Blaze McKinney is lined up on deck for. Here comes the one. Watch Connor Horn watching from the windshield. Curhan's got a big run, but nowhere to go with it out of 4.
Oh, Connor Horn almost in the wall. Oh, Seth Noel, big block on the 42. That killed all of his momentum off the corner. Now Horn trying to give a bump to Seth Noel to get a run off in the corner.
That was almost catastrophe. Here comes Noel looking for the lead in turn 1. Going to go on the bottom of McKinney. They're going to get tight. He's tight in the turn. Horn to the outside, looking for a second, trying to get in the catbird seat. Meanwhile, Noel fighting on the inside, and here comes Michael Curran. But Noel's going to fit in the hole down the back.
See if Curhan takes this opportunity or if he gives the one a shove. I think Curran's best shot to win this race is to let the 1 and the 42 take each other out. They've been so aggressive all night long. I would expect those two to come to blows if it comes to the last lap. Horn got a great run out of turn 4, and he's going to go for the lead here.
Oh, and there he goes, and he's actually going to get it in behind. Skyler going to turn the 24 across the start-finish line. Caution's going to be out.
Hope he can keep it off the wall. He's going to hit it.
Skyler is done. Big damage to the 7 as well.
Wow.
Connor Horn leads this race. 7 laps to go. Tim Brown Market replay.
Yeah, this is an interesting one. I thought if anything, something would happen up in front there.
The 1 was blocking the 24, and they just kind of chased each other up the road, and then the 7 had a big head of steam, and 24 kind of got blocked, and away they went. There's the 7 going for a ride. Inside, and then slides up the hill.
That was really what did that huge cut to the inside. Curran will continue without damage. Major loss of track position, though.
Yeah, I mean, the 1 kind of triggers this. I have to go back and look again to see how much space there actually was.
Sure, let's look at it in slow motion.
He leaves us outside here. The 24's there, and the 1 just drives him up the road. I'm sure if you're Michael Curhan, you're going to be pretty frustrated by that.
Oh, I'm sure he's winning. I would be.
Doors open. I mean, if this was lap 20, I'd say, don't stick your nose in that, but the battle that these two are in, you kind of have to, right? I mean...
Well, I didn't know he's more annoyed with Seth Noel more so than I think with Skyoli.
Yeah, that too. I mean, yeah.
Because Skyoli was the one that eventually turned him.
I think for James, you have to wonder, could he see? Not on board. Jump on the roll bar here. So he sees the 1, yeah, it's ugly. Big hit there. All the while, Connor Horn was stealing the lead away from Blaze McKinney. And we are going to get a pretty late race restart here. I don't think it'll be a green-white checker just yet. Greg Mitchell with the modified rolls around. He's going to hit the free pass.
Yeah, the caution clock came a little bit early. A little bit before lap 100.
Yeah, at 99. Been within 1 lap of that, though. 4 of our 6 yellows.
And also, if you want to, you can take a look at the points as they run right now, because it's going to get interesting here. Heading to what could be the final restart of the night.
You're Michael Curran. Your last 3 or 4 laps are going to have to be pretty cutthroat. You want any shot at this, or just pray and hope that the 42 or the 1 gets sent skyward here.
They're not in the green-white checker scenario yet. They're going to get the green with 3 to go, but if there is another yellow, then it's green-white checker scenario.
Yeah, so I don't really know for Michael Curran what he can really do. I think it's just better just get his head down. He needs to gain 10 spots.
I think he'll be able to do that. They're going to chop
take each other out.
Yeah.
Connor Horn elects for the outside lane. Thoughts on that, Finney?
I think that's definitely the place you want to be. I mean, anyway, we've seen the leader get some great restarts and he just wants to be up there, and I think he also mainly wants to keep that number 1 at bay and behind has one more car to deal with.
With the 24 out of this, I mean, obviously the win is important, but with the 24 out of this, is there really a reason to put each other in the fence? I mean, a moment ago, I would have said yes, because there were 3 drivers fighting for 2 spots. Now there's only 2 drivers fighting for 2 spots effectively, but I guess the big question is, you can't really know what the 24 is doing, so you still kind of have to go for it.
Yeah, I think you definitely do have to go over it at this point, right? Because you can't let off at this point in the race. You got, what, 1, maybe 2 restarts planned at most, so you just kind of have to go for it and hope for the best, because there's a lot riding on this restart.
Most importantly for the 1, that last incident was labeled a racing incident, so he will not get an EOL. That means he will restart 4th and all the points that are associated with it. Pace car is going to pull off. If we get another yellow before the white, we will get 1 and only green-white checkered. If we make it to the white, we will finish under green regardless. Next week, the Area Cup Series finishes the 17-round season in the Windy City. But one last run in the California sun. Green flag, we're back racing here at Fontana. Connor Horn clears 2nd place, and everybody else fighting for scraps.
Yeah, they're going to play nice here in turn 1. A bit of door-to-door action with the 56 and the 87. As Reinhardt's up on the top side, Seth Hill stuck on the bottom, going to lose a couple spots.
And they're working their way down the backstretch now. Matheson trying to get a big enough run into the corner. Reinhardt's up to 3rd with a solid run for him today. Rolling into turn 3, there's still 3 wide and 4 wide, Bell on the wall.
Where did he come from? That 3 Orion Hearts might be in the podium spot here in just a moment's time. 2 laps to go, 4 miles left for Connor Horn, but he will have to defend from Jake Matheson, who's coming with speed. 73 got a shot from behind. He had a big wiggle.
For Matthew Bell in mind, he tried to shoot a gap, make it 4 wide. The door got slammed shut. Almost a wreck on the straightaway here. 2 laps to go off into turns 1 and 2.
Matheson still 2 car lengths behind race leader Connor Horn. They're side by side for 3rd. They're going to touch off 2 down the back. McKinney and Hart's fighting for that podium spot. But up front, Horn trying to snake away from the 56.
He is 3 miles away from being locked in to the playoff run at Chicagoland Speedway. For 3rd place, it is an absolute hornet's nest. Jake Matheson has got some work to do, though, if he wants to catch this 42 car. White flag waves, 1 lap left at Fontana.
Oh, we're going to finish this. So they are 4 wide in the middle of the field. Matthew Bell, Michael Curran in the mix of all this, as well as the 73 Jake Nichols.
Michael Curran trying to get everything he can to find a way into the championship 4, but I don't know if he'll have enough time. Down the backstretch for the final time, Horn still snaking away from the 56. It's a 2 car length gap separating the 2, heading into 3 and 4 for the final time.
He's 3/10 clear into the last couple of corners. Ricky Springer on the bottom.
Oh, Matheson threw it hard. He's up almost in the wall. Oh, and a big crash in behind. Seth
Knowles in it. Seth Knowles in it. They're all in it. The 24's in it. Checkered flag.
Oh,
Connor Horn wins the race, and it's absolute pandemonium behind him.
A wreck fest for the championship finishing positions. Who gets to the line first?
I have no idea how this is going to pan. Travis Beckner's 6th.
Wow, that might be enough depending on how this played out.
Wow.
This definitely jumbled everything up, and you see the emotion from Connor Horn getting that win, securing his spot into the championship 4. But we're going to have to sort this out, VM, because they absolutely demolished it coming to the finish line.
I don't even know where to start with that. I mean, this is going to be one that we'll have to look at.
I think I saw Ricky Springer get loose, that, as well as Matheson up in the wall.
Oh, man. I mean, this is just everybody.
Everyone with their foot to the floor.
24 did not finish ahead of the 1, but he was within proximity of it.
The 24 needed a lot more, I'm afraid.
But the 28 finished 6th. And the 24, 19th. The 1, 16th. Wow.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Connor Horton led 10 laps in this race. and will celebrate here at Fontana, puts him through to the last round at Chicagoland Speedway, where I would argue he is absolutely going to be a threat to win. Now, Connor Horn has won 2 races so far this season. One at Darlington, the other at Atlanta. Now a third here in Fontana, California. He will join Jake Matheson as those locked into the playoffs, and now we are anxiously awaiting results here, Finian.
Well, while we're waiting for the Sim Racer Hub points, my points I've put together so you can take a look at how on earth they've ended up. Oh,
gosh.
boy.
Wow.
That's close. Wow, look at that. So, of course, Matheson, Connor Horn, not worried about them. Nichols even as well, 21 points up ahead. And then looking at the margin, Noel tied with Curran. Supposedly he's going to be winning the tiebreaker. We're going to verify that. And then Beckner 1 point behind.
That's insane. I mean, we're going to have to make sure that we get clarification on all of those things because it is that close, that tight. Before we do that, though, let's have a look at our race results. And Connor's engine just went kablooey there. Here is a look at your race results, unofficial ones, of course, pending any changes or investigations. Connor Horn wins this race after leading only 10 laps. Blaze McKinney second. Matheson, Hartz, Weishart. Travis Beckner led 63 laps, only 6th, but I'm sure he will not be that upset after how it almost slipped completely away. Just 1 point shy, though, Finian. Imagine if that last corner had gone slightly differently, how that would have changed things.
Yeah, it really was. And getting confirmation from Jacob Bell at the moment, it's 56-73-42-1, which I believe is what we got as well for us. So that's what it's standing at the moment. Those are the unofficial points total as it stands. But man, what a finish. That absolutely got thrown for a loop. And again, Michael Curran, I can't imagine his frustration being taken out via tiebreaker after a colossal wreck there at the end.
Yeah, massive crash there to say the least, and Matheson still coming up with a podium spot. He tried to pull off a Louisiana dive bomb, Kyle. He tried a big send into turn 3, gave it his all, comes away with third, but Beckner just, coming up short, and just absolute chaos. I don't even know where to start with that for the rest of the results. Culberson was involved in the wreck earlier on, comes away with 11th, Jake Nichols 13th, Matthew Bell 14th, Springer 15th, Seth Knoll P16, and then, Michael Curran just coming up a few spots short in 19th.
Yeah, down the rest of the order here for those that didn't have such great days. A lot of attrition towards the bottom of the order. Mason Kane, what a drive forward he had before a crash took him out of the show. Connor Kresick out with Skylar Shackelford. Brad Slaughter out very early in this race. That's your results, but let's talk to our third place finisher, Jake Matheson, who was already going to Chicago, but Jake, you almost had another win tonight. Big dive there into turn 3 and 4, and then smoke and sparks and everything in the rear view behind you. Holy cow. You're going to Chicago fighting for a championship, but tonight was not an easy one.
No, it was definitely a war of attrition. I mean, up front, mid-pack, and where you were, it was just everyone on top of each other. So it made for some good race, and I had a lot of fun tonight. The setup with the track temp made it so you could use, the top groove is obviously still pretty dominant, but you could throw it low if you had a run, So it was good race, and I liked it. I just threw a Hail Mary at the end there. I just figured, if I hit him square, I hit him square, and if I don't, I don't. So, gonna get top 3 regardless. So, just tried for it. He ran a great race. He was fast all day. Travis, hate to see what happened to him. He was fast all day too. But, just overall great race. Had a lot of fun.
Next week, Chicagoland Speedway. It's a different animal, of course. How do you feel about heading into that round with your unofficial competitors of Jake Nichols, Connor Horn, and the one of Seth Knoll?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously very stout competition, have been all year long, so it's going to be a good one. It's going to be really exciting to watch. Everyone's tuned up 110% for that race, so it's probably going to be some tempers, probably going to be some controversy, if you will, but it's going to be a good one.
Well, Jake, good luck to you next week. Thanks for chatting with us. Congrats on a P3 tonight.
Absolutely, thank you. Just before I go, real quick, I want to thank Calusa Pines, Celsius, Area Shop, Alien Gear, Huckett Films, and Miller Racing for everything. And got one more tomorrow, and then season finale.
Thanks, Jake. Have a good night.
Thank you. You too.
All right, guys, before we talk to our second place finisher, we should tell you about a scenario happening in the background right now. The 51 of Ricky Springer is in a position currently that might flip the last driver that is in the playoffs, because if he gets an EOL, it could drastically change the results. So we'll update you on that as soon as we can. But that's what scenario is happening. Still unofficial top 4 moving on. But Blaze McKinney, second place tonight. Led some laps there, Blaze, and he almost had it as he did a couple of weeks ago. But fighting up there with a bunch of playoff competitors, and man, they are cutthroat. And you almost had this one tonight. Take us through your evening.
Yeah, it was an up and down night for sure. Really sucks to lose one that way. I almost had it. I mean, Connor did a great job. He caught me there at the end, and my right rear was starting to get pretty worn out there, and he just got me right before the caution came out. So it's unlucky for us, but glad we ran really well. Happy to lead some laps, get out there, and we're in top 5. Got caught up in that wreck there early in the race, and I thought the car was going to be killed, but got it fixed up and just went right to the front. And I mean, really happy with how the day went. Great racing. It was a lot of fun up there with Seth and Jake and Connor and everybody up there. It was just so much fun racing. Sucks the draft's kind of a big part of the racing, but it's just a lot of fun slipping and sliding. So again, just really excited about the top 5. Getting ready to end the season on a high note. So I'm happy about that, but again, it just really sucks to lose one that way.
Well, Blaze, you brought the heat tonight. Congratulations on the second, and we'll see you at Chicagoland next week.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And Connor Horn gets his 3rd win of the season. And the way this season started, Connor, I'm not sure that you expected this to go the way that it did, but you've put yourself now in the last round of the playoffs. You're going to be running for a championship next week. This one did not come easy. You led 10 laps. You had to hold off a hard-charging Jake Matheson. Man, what a race. What a finish. Congratulations. How are you feeling?
Feeling good. Oh, landed that rolled pretty good. I'm relieved. That was crazy. Me, Michael, and Seth, none of us had weaknesses. We were like top 5 the entire race. But the main issue that entire race until, I don't know, lap 60 or lap 80, whenever it was Beckner winning. That really changed the game because I think he had the best car. Don't know what happened. They got racing for the lead hard with Jake and Blaze. Blaze came out of nowhere too. But Travis lost it. You know, if you get loose once in these next-gen cars, especially at a track this slick, you can't save it. So it's a shame for him. He had the best car. He probably would have won. But after he went out of the race, it really switched things. I knew I came into the race, I think 1 behind Michael, 3 ahead of Seth. I knew if I was ahead of Michael, I was good, and I knew if Seth was just in front of me, that was good as well. So especially on that second to last run before the caution with 5 to go, the gains are really huge. I knew Seth was trying to keep me behind him, and I knew Curran was going to be peaking as well. Then Seth, I guess around 10 to go, started peeking to the inside of Blaze. Out of 4, I almost got to his outside. He had to through a big block, which I was surprised that he went for it that early. I think he would have waited with... You wait with like 2 to go in a situation like that when it's so draft dependent. But then surprised me, he went for it in the 1 next time he got a run, and that time he didn't go for a slide job either. He just kind of got stuck under Blaze, got really tight, and it just let me get to his right rear. So that really changed things because then he started going backwards and having to block Michael, which I think he put Michael in a wall, which is a shame for him. I think he's going to miss on top 5 tiebreaker. But then after that, it was trying to get Blaze and trying to get cars between me and Michael. And I didn't realize how bad Blaze was struggling. He washed up the track. I got a big run under him, and that was going to be a crazy run in the turn number 1. He chased me down to the grass trying to side draft me, but then I guess the 1, 24, and 7 all came together, brought out that yellow, gave me the lead, which was, it's what won me the race. If I got second there, who knows what would have happened with Ricky taking out the 1. So got really crazy, had to break the draft with Jake, and got really scared when he went to the grass in the 3. I'm not sure what was going on there. It scared me, but I figured he was probably just messing around because he was locked in. He wouldn't wreck me like that. We've raced clean all season long, so just huge deal to win. I really didn't think I would tonight, but it's huge, and I earned it this year. It had nothing go wrong. No right rear at Vegas, nothing like that this season. We're in the playoffs, so just a shout out to my team, 609 Motorsports, Jonathan Oates for making our paint schemes. Jeremy had a top 5 car tonight. I think Skylar would have had a top 10 car. They just didn't have the race go their way. But either way, really happy with getting to the Final 4. That was the goal this season, at least, after missing last season, so that's pretty huge.
Well, you're going to head into Chicagoland as one of the 4, and it's straight up whoever beats the others wins the championship. How do you feel about Chicagoland Speedway? It's a very different racetrack, but it has some tendencies that are similar, like the multi-groove that we saw tonight, which looked like a lot of fun. So do you feel like that's an advantage for you?
I think Chicagoland's an advantage for me. I think the only person faster than me last season was Seth. Got involved in some antics at Chicagoland. I think I would have finished second. So it's gonna be tough. I know Nichols had a bad run there last time we went there, but I don't think that was. I don't know what was going on there. I think he's gonna be hard to beat, and obviously Matheson is gonna be hard to beat, no doubt. So I think I feel like all 4 of us are gonna be running top 4, and I'm hoping for a green race. I'm happy it fell the way it did for me tonight, but I want it to go green. I don't want to have to yellow after yellow every 20 laps. It was a little annoying, even because when you're trying to save tires, and the yellow comes out, you're just upset because then it doesn't matter. So hoping for a green race. Not hopefully we don't have any random things happen at the end of the race. And I think all 4 of us are going to be racing really hard at Chicagoland for the race win, because the top's pretty good for defending, but not like it is here. It isn't as draft dependent, especially on the long run. We should see racing get spread out. So I'm ready for it. I think I have a good shot.
Connor Horn wins at Auto Club Speedway, and he's through to the final 4 at the Windy City. Connor, thanks for talking. Congratulations, and we'll see you in the booth here tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll see you tomorrow.
All right, guys, before we sign off, there was a couple other things that we never really got a good look at that I'd like to see before we sign off for the evening. One of which was the big dive that the 56 did into turn 3, because we were watching all the chaos. Look at that 56 all the way down there. And then the 28, his perspective of the crash out of turn 4, Finian. Final thoughts on this crazy race from Fontana.
Yeah, definitely didn't disappoint, right? He gave us a great championship fight. There you see him just bobbing and weaving like Lightning McQueen through there. Wow, he actually did a great job making it through there.
Great job there. I actually kind of wanted to see how Ricky Springer was in the middle of that carnage that ensued, because
he was the genesis of that.
Yeah, I wanted to see what kind of move he made. Oh, he had a wiggle.
Yeah, I guess that's an overcorrection. They were already wrecking him behind them as well.
Yeah, but either way, big mess at the end and a lot of chaos, but Connor Horn comes on through. He is your winner here from Fontana Speedway. What a night. Great racing all around, multi-groove, and so much fun to watch. We've got 2 more races here at this track this week, the Area Truck Series tomorrow night, and then, of course, the Florida State Builders Area Pro Series on Thursday, and we finish everything off in Chicago next week. Thanks so much for watching, everybody, and we'll see you tomorrow for the Truck Series.